Hi everyone, I wanted to share a gift with you that I make every Christmas, and well actually I've made them the last 2 Christmases, and it kind of started 2 years ago because I wanted to make something kind of small and meaningful. I didn't want it to cost a lot of money, but I wanted it to be meaningful, and I wanted it to be something small that people could carry in their purse or in their pocket, and that would give them a little bit of inspiration when they were having a bad day or a hard time. And so this is what I came up with. Basically, it's a little mini tag album, and it measures about 3.5 inches by 2 inches, and it's full of, the ones that I've been making are full of Bible verses or scriptures from the Bible. And I know that not everyone is religious, but I've had a lot of people, I've sent a couple to a couple YouTubers, and I've had several people ask me how I made them, so I thought I would share. And I was thinking, if you're not religious, you could still make these, and you could just find really inspirational quotes. There's lots of, you can go online and look up quotes, and you can find really inspirational quotes. You could make them with inspirational quotes. You could do a lot of different things with them, but this is how I'm going to just tell you how I. Okay, so what you're going to need to get started is just some chipboard, sorry, and I just saved all the boxes from everything that I could get my hands on, and I have actually friends that they save their boxes now, cereal boxes, pizza boxes, these were Pop-Tart boxes, you can use cake boxes, any kind of boxes that you have that you get when you cook. It's the perfect weight. So you cut 5 tag-shaped pieces, and they don't have to be this shape. I actually I didn't use the Cricut. I didn't have a Cricut when I started making these. I actually used something called a colozzle, and I don't know if any of you know what that is, but some of you probably do. The colozzle was actually, it's by Provocraft, and it was actually the Cricut before the Cricut was invented. It's a shape cutting system, and I had a tag template that I used, and that's how I made these. But you don't have to make them this shape. If you don't have a tag, any kind of a tag template or any way to cut this shape, you can just cut them square. If you have a paper cutter, you can just cut the chipboard and into a square shape. That's fine. So this is a tag shape that I had, and I cut 5 of them. And then what you're going to need are 10 pieces of coordinating paper. And what I do is I just use this Scotch quick dry adhesive, and I just glue the papers on the front and then on the back. And I do this in mass production. I cut a whole bunch of these, I cut a whole bunch of papers, and then I just sit and just mass produce these. And after you get the front and the back glued on, what you're going to do is, what I like to do is I like to take all 5 of them, put them together, and then just put them together like this, and stick them under a book, and leave them under a book for about an hour, and that helps get them to lay flat. Then once that's done, then I go back and I sand with my sander, and I'm sorry I don't have one sitting here, but I sand with my sander all around the edges just to get the edges smooth and clean, because sometimes you can see a little bit of the chipboard or whatever, and you can go back with your scissors or with your X-Acto knife and cut those edges off, but the sander seems to do the job too. Then I ink around the edges, and depending on the paper, it just depends on what color of ink I use. This one I used green ink, this one I used brown ink. It just depends on what I want to do. This one I used another brown ink. Okay, so once you've inked around the edges of all your pages, and you've inked all of your Bible verses or quotes, whatever you're going to use, then you can glue them down. And what I again use is the quick dry adhesive by Scotch, and I don't put a ton on, but I do put it really closely to the edge all the way around, because when you put this on your page, you want to make sure that it's not going to peel up. You want your corners to be stuck down, and you want it to look professionally made. So I try really hard to be really careful and make sure that my edges are stuck all the way down. If you get some glue on your fingers, you get some glue on your fingers. Then once you get all your Bible verses or quotes or scriptures or whatever you want to put in your album down in your album, then what I do is, again, I put my tag album together, and again I set a book on it for a while just to make sure that those scriptures are in there, your quotes are in there really nicely. Okay, so then once that is done, then I take ribbon and I take a little charm and I put the ribbon through, put the charm on the ribbon, and then I tie it in a bow. And I get these charms at Walmart, and these charms are in the child's jewelry section, or the child's bead section. There's a normal bead section, but then there's also a section for kids, and that's where I get these. And there's 12 charms, and they're $2.49. So it's not too bad a price for those. You can also find some really pretty small silver ones in the adult section, and I do get those too. Those are $3, and you only get, I think you only get 5. So you don't get as many, but they are really pretty. And if you're only making a few and you want them, your paper is really a nice paper and you want it to look really good, you could get those. And I have gotten those. I really like those ones too, but they are more expensive. If you're mass producing these, this is the way to. Then I take some ribbon, and this is 5/8 inch satin ribbon, and you could use any ribbon, but this is the one I bought because it was cheap. And if my books are feminine, if I use, feminine papers, then I will tie a bow. I kind of like the look of the bow, and how I do that is I take a pen or a pencil and I put it on top of the album, and then I tie the bow onto that. So that gives me, and I tie it really tight. I pull it really tight because I don't want it to come apart. Okay, so the bow gets pulled really tightly, and then you make sure your bow is really tight, and then you can pull your pen out, and then that gives you a little bit of leeway there to open and close the album without pulling too much at the ribbon. Okay, and then if I'm making one for a man, or a more masculine one, what I'll do is, and you can do this for all your albums if you want. I kind of like the look of the bow, so I make some with the bow. But this one is, I just took the ribbon and I just put it through, put the little cross on it, and knotted it. Just like that. And that's actually easier than doing the bow, so that's basically it. These are really simple and easy to make, and I can't even tell you how much people love them. I mean, it's unbelievable. It blew my mind. The reception that you get from giving these. So anyway, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm going to give 2 away. I'm going to give this one away and this one away. So if you would like to win one of these, you can leave me a comment under this video. And if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. And I will pick the winners on May 1st, this Saturday. I think that's National Scrapbook Day. And so that's it. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.